What's up, world? It's your boy C's from thec'slife.com. Welcome back to another episode of the Fit Pro Development Podcast. Today, I have a special guest, life coach Courtney Stacy. Eager to listen in to her story, her journey of entrepreneurship and personal development within this space. We also know each other through a mutual friend and came highly recommended. So I'm eager to listen to that story of yours, Courtney. So without any further ado, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So tell everyone who you are, where you currently reside, and what it is that you currently do.
Great. Okay, so I am Courtney Stacy. I recently started my personal development and life coaching business this past winter. So I am doing that full time right now. And I'm also in graduate school part time, pursuing my master's in social work. And those two things intertwine and dance around each other quite a lot, which I can talk about later. I'm living outside of the Boston area, and yeah, very excited to be here.
Awesome. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us. So take us back to the beginning, to the orange origin story. What got you into the personal development space?
Sure. I mean, I would say from a very young age, I've been super interested in psychology, mind body connection, through my own personal struggles and path with um, physical symptoms that were really super linked to emotional connection and kind of like suppressed emotions. That kind of led me down the road of really being serious and being super intentional about taking care of myself. Um, I found myself really suffering a lot with a lot of gut health issues, and by working with an herbalist and also a functional nutritionist and a therapist, like I really saw a huge change in myself. And I had a lot of limiting beliefs around relationships, and I'm now in my dream relationship. So I've really seen the effects of kind of digging in and getting in there. And that also connects to me pursuing my master's in social work, because that ultimately will help me become a licensed therapist. So I can kind of merge all of these passions of mine into one.
Awesome. So I see that you worked with a team. Do you still work with that team now, like the herbalist and the other guys?
I no longer work with the herbalist or the nutritionist, though I still maintain connection. I have friends who or family members who are still seeing them periodically. I am still seeing my therapist, who I saw way back for about 7 years now, and she's been a hugely integral part of my journey.
Nice. And take us through, we always kind of know about, or we always have that story of landing that first client that solidifies, our belief in ourselves, right? Take us through that first client that came to you looking for self-improvement and looking for some direction in their health and wellness.
Yeah. So in January, I put it out there to the world that I was doing this, and I was giving away free sessions. And I ended up seeing, I think, 31 people. Um,
Wow, nice.
which really, it was, there were 30-minute sessions. They were short, and I didn't necessarily see those people multiple times, but it really showed me that there was an interest there. Um, and I was like, okay, I'm super excited to do this. And then I meant to mention this earlier on, you mentioned, but now I work with Garrett, who is a coach herself, and she's really been instrumental in helping me shape my business and like really get it off the ground. So now I'm in the place where I am calling in clients. I have a client right now who is, I'm just so excited to start working together.
Mhm.
And that, so I feel like it's like the seed was planted in January, and now I'm really like in the thick of things.
Now it's like starting to sprout.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's dope. And through your journey, do you see like any correlations? Like, were you seeking that same advice when you got started?
Yeah, like I said, I was just in a place of like, I just knew there was misalignment in my life. I knew that there was something going on with my body. I knew that I had some blockages around relationships and limiting beliefs. And I really like through kind of showing up over and over again and really being willing to shift my lifestyle, saw the changes. And it was hard work. And even with most recently working with Garrett, still chipping away at, like years worth of limiting beliefs and understanding and seeing that like it really does take that discipline showing up to it every day and deciding that you still want to change your mindset every day. Yeah, so
That's awesome. That's great. Take us through like for those people like getting started or like probably struggling towards the beginning. What is some advice that you would give yourself like when before like knowing everything that you know now, what is some advice you would give yourself for those that's in your similar shoes getting started?
mhm. I would say listen to your intuition, both because we know when something's off, and also I really do think that we know when we are meant to be doing something different. So I've always had that feeling of like I am meant to follow a different path than most of my peers. And I think that's an easy one to kind of push aside because it's simpler to follow the path that's been carved out. But for a very long time now, I've known that I'm meant to follow a different path. And I would say, like, 10 years ago, I wish I heard that that's okay. And that's something to embrace and to follow.
Yeah. I find that like this aspect of anybody's journey is always like you going into the unknown, the
Hmm.
uncertain. And as humans, we do not like the unknown and uncertain. We want to actually know what's going to happen. We want to know what the end of the story is before getting started, but that's not in the cards, right? So
100%.
um I definitely understand that.
Mhm.
For coaches that's like starting out and they kind of want a similar career like yours, what piece of advice would you give them? What should they be doing right now?
I would say one, like get honest with yourself in terms of like how willing are you to take the leap. I think what I've experienced in many different ways is like we can't want the thing like what you were just saying. We can't want the end of the story without being willing to really like, take that leap of
Yeah,
faith. Um, and also find a mentor, find someone who's doing something similar, who's really like showing you that it's possible.
yeah, that mentors are big, man. Like if
Mhm,
you know there aren't shortcuts, but if you wanted to progress a little bit faster,
mhm.
get yourself a mentor, find the person that has the results that you want, and find a way to be around them as frequently as possible.
Yeah,
Definitely
totally.
dope. So over the course of your career, like you've transitioned from fitness to life coaching.
Mhm.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you had to overcome?
I think one of the biggest challenges for me is what I've kind of already mentioned, which is just really embracing the difference in how my career is panning out, how my path is panning out, if I am comparing it to someone else. Um, and that used to trip me up a lot and keep me small. And now I am just full force going for it. That has been, both a blessing and a challenge because it's taken work to just really come out and say, yeah, this is what I'm doing and I'm going for it.
That's dope. Yeah, definitely. It's always the leaning in part, man. That's
Mhm.
like trips everybody up. Like if there was like I always like the people that I coach, and these questions are based on some of the things that they asked directly or indirectly. But it's always, again, going back to trying to like get to the end of the book, as opposed to like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm on the right path. Most of it is like asking yourself, are you on the right path? Are you on the right path?
Yeah.
And if it's something that you'll do for like yourself and
Mhm.
without having any sort of like missteps or anything, you're gonna just keep going. Like
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
could easily just quit and give up at this point in my journey, there's no turning back, right?
Mhm.
I burned the boats, like there's
Mhm.
no turning back, right? So like if it's easy for you to just walk away from, maybe it's not really for you. But if
Yeah.
it's something that you're just determined to figure out, like you're on the right path. There's going to
Yes.
be those questions, those creeping thoughts in your mind, but you're definitely, and that's one of my biggest wins, which is leaning into my next question, right? Like what have been like the biggest wins and successes that you've come across?
Um, so I think like a really wrapping up like the old jobs that I had, kind of like tying up loose ends there and just being like, I'm doing coaching full time. In addition to now starting to collaborate with like workshops with businesses and partners that I really care about. I should have an upcoming workshop with Cambridge Naturals, which is one of my old employers and one of my favorite businesses in Boston,
Nice.
later in September. I have a few other ideas floating around that aren't super solid yet, so I won't say them. But being able to partner with people and businesses that I really care about, like that's a huge win. I mean, that's a gift. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, just flipping the roles, right? And then
Mhm.
going from like being employed to being more like a business partner. That is
Mhm.
a big win. So do you currently have like any routines that keeps you in a flow state to keep you progressing and showing up every day?
Good question. Yeah, so I mean, movement is a huge part of my life. So staying, not just staying in movement, but making sure that I'm consistently stimulating myself with things that challenge me. So right now I'm really into like stacking on my strict pull-ups, and getting good at that. Meditating is huge. I journal every single night. That's always been a part of my life, my routine. I do something called emotional freedom technique, which is also nicknamed tapping, and it's a somatic practice where you are literally tapping on your body while you're talking, and that's been really instrumental in my own journey. So that's something I keep up, and then spending time outside and having fun.
That's dope. I actually interviewed a yogi on the
Mm,
podcast that's into somatic
yeah.
training and coaching as well. I'm eager to like test that out and see how that feels. But what's the next level for you? What are you striving to achieve next? What are you trying to
Mm.
take over?
So my dream business idea is to offer one-on-one coaching and or couples coaching workshops and retreats. I'm really interested in working with couples. I feel like that's a very I don't know, like there's such opportunity in that, in the like therapeutic and coaching space. So
Mhm.
often people seek out couples therapy when they're in crisis. And I really want to embrace this idea that you can strengthen and deepen your connection and your bond and your partnership when you are really happy and healthy in that partnership. So I have an idea for a business that I would run with my partner, that we would have coaching and workshops and retreats, and have a retreat center eventually. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. That sounds exciting. Thank you so much for joining us. If for those that want to get in contact with you, looking to get some of your coaching or
Mhm.
mentorship, like what are some ways that they can keep in contact?
Yeah. So I have my Instagram is at Courtney B. Stacy. I also have a coaching Instagram, Courtney B Stacy Coaching. I use both. The coaching one right now is a little bit more of like a landing page. I'm really on my other page more often. People can email me. I have spots open for coaching as we move into the fall season, but email me now and I could get you in before the fall. So that's Courtney B Stacy Coaching at gmail.com. And keep an eye out for upcoming workshops. I have a newsletter as well. Email me if you want to get on that. So I'm out there, and website is coming.
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, guys, I'm going to link all of her contacts down in the descriptions. Be sure to connect with Courtney, and looking forward to seeing you like blossom and get after that. We already follow each other, so I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing the journey unfold. As I welcome guests, new guests, old friends to the podcast, is actually just adding to this story and journey in like fitness and personal development. So thank you so much for joining us and blessing us with your story. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so
Courtney.
much, Caesar.
Appreciate it. All right, guys. So that is a wrap for today's episode. Thank you once again for watching. Again, if you are a fitness professional looking to get your story out there or looking to connect with me, you can leave me a comment in the comment section, or shoot me a DM. But till the next time, thank you once again. Peace.